Agriculture is key for economic growth, especially in Africa. Boosting agri-community export remains a veritable platform to expand economic development. This week on Africa Weekly, we will beam our searchlight on Nigeria's national cashew policy and the potential for foreign exchange earnings. I am Charles Alpha, welcoming you to the program. Now, what's in the national cashew policy for cashew farmers in Nigeria, and what are the potential available in that sector for economic growth?
Le projet Initiative du cajou compétitif est un projet financé en grande partie par le BMZ avec d'autres partenaires de la chaîne de valeur du cajou. Le projet est régional et intervient dans 6 pays africains avec pour objectif de promouvoir la compétitivité du cajou africain et de réduire la pauvreté au niveau des petits.
Joining us via Zoom from Abuja, Edo State, is the national president of the Cashew Association of Nigeria, Ojo Ajanaku. Mr. Joe, pleased to have you join us this morning on Africa Weekly.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's begin this way. Can you help us, x-ray the state of cashew industry in Nigeria?
Like I said, cashew in Nigeria is an emerging market. Let's use that language because it's beginning to peak now, and the impact is going to have in the Nigeria economy. We have been in the trade for a while, and we have been in the cultivation also for a while. But now its interests are peaking very well because of the potential economic value of the commodity. We have a lot of interest now in the sector, and we believe that it will help the economy to grow.
Okay, so in terms of sale, how is it in Nigeria?
In terms of what?
In terms of sales, the production, how is it in Nigeria?
I didn't get.
Okay, now how will you rate,
Yeah,
when you talk about production and markets, how will you describe that? How is it in Nigeria?
Thank you. When you talk about cashew production, maybe I should just briefly give you about how cashew came to Nigeria. We have it as a crop to check erosion in the past. That was the purpose of bringing it into the country, but it was discovered that it is an economic cash crop that can be used for to mitigate for this. Talk about non-oil income. But in Nigeria today, cashew can grow all over the country. But currently, we are producing in about 22 states in Nigeria, producing cashew in commercial volume. But we have also done some statistics on our own, and we discovered that out of the 109 senatorial districts we have in Nigeria, cashew can actually be produced in commercial value in about 88 senatorial districts. And so we, as an association, who is the umbrella body of the sector and the private sector representative, we are trying to see how we can promote production of cashew in Nigeria to see that the areas that need to produce cashew can produce cashew for economic value. Now, cashew currently, what we do in Nigeria is we export the raw nut. There is also little consumption in Nigeria. Africa as a whole have the challenge of processing. And we are looking into the aspect of adding value to what actually we are producing in this sector for marketing. Currently, we are just exporting the raw nut, which is not too good for the economy, though it is also have its own benefit. But we believe that if we add value to it, it will be more better than what we are doing currently.
Okay, challenges of, in production, your word there, and I like to know this period where we're having facing the cash, scarcity and all of that, and production of these products of cashew nuts is majorly done in the rural areas. What are the challenges, or how are you managing the challenges of purchase? Because I know in the rural areas, as it is right now, a lot of people find they are not collecting transfers in terms of when it comes to buying and selling of this product. How are you dealing with that challenge?
I can tell you here that it's a big challenge for the sector, more also that we are in the season now. We are in the cashew harvest season, and it's really, affecting the sector because cashew is a majorly cash trading commodity. Our farmers in the rural area are the ones suffering in the more. What I say they're the ones suffering in is this. The people who are buying naira to go and they buy this cashew from them because many of them don't even know what is called banking and they believe in cash. And why they are suffering it is those who are buying cash, who are buying naira to go and buy this commodity from them, we tell them, if you are to collect cash, I'll give you half the price. For instance, now, a ton of cashew is going for 550 in the bush, and they are buying from these people for 100,000 naira because they are paying cash to them. And if they are transferring, for those of them who can transfer, who are the middlemen who can transfer, are getting the right price. So the farmers are really feeling it hard and it's affecting the farmers very badly. This is what I say about the processes. The challenge we have in this part of the world is processes. It's not that the cashless policy is not a good one, but the process I don't think is of the right one. The way we are going about it, I don't think is the right way because the farmers are really feeling the heat.
All right, so now we understand that the national cashew policy is in the pipeline. Can you give us an insight into that?
Yeah, 2019 when I was elected and I eventually sworn in 2021, my first interview was that we don't have national policy. And what a sector without policy cannot attract investors. But like I talked about processes, the sector policy, as I understand, just like you say in democracy, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Policy of the sector, by the sector, for the sector. But a system where some interests are trying to hijack the process will not give us holistic look of the policy. And so as an association, we are trying to bring everybody together. This is why we have our stakeholders meeting in Benin recently, when we did our national cashew day in Benin and the flag off season. So it's on the pipeline, but we are very careful about it. We have development partners who are cooperating with us because there's a lot to be done. We can't rush into producing the policy because if we do that, we will not get the result. So we are advising that we should be given enough time to do an holistic gathering of information from all the geopolitical zones that are producing cashew so as to have a policy that will be encompassing. We have 4 segments in the sector and every sector must be protected. When I talk about 4 segments, I talk about the farmers, talk about the processors, we talk about the traders and also the service providers. Now, the farmers need to be taken into consideration when we are doing any policy because without the farmers, we don't have any other thing that will go in. The three other segments will not function. And the farmers also need the traders because they don't have market for it. That the commodity will be wasted in their hand. And so we have to come together as a team to have a holistic look of the policy, but not for some segments as we are hearing. Some segments are pushing for a national cashew processing policy. And most of those processors that will have to be in Nigeria that call the sell process are just shellers. Let me use that language. They're just shellers because what they do is to remove the shell from and bring out the kernel. What we as association is looking at is a processor that will utilize all that is out of the commodity. We have about 13 byproduct in the commodity. So that is not yet processing. So we are working on a policy that will bring every one of us together, and we'll be happy to have a good policy that will give us a sector that will be economically viable.
So now we keep talking about this policy, and we want to know what is the main thrust of this policy you keep talking about?
Yeah, the policy we have to look about what we are, in Nigeria, like I said, we have so many policies all across the nation. We have agencies, but we have to integrate everyone because the major challenge we are having is integration. This is doing its own, the other one is doing its own that part. So we are trying to see a policy that will bring every one of us together, where we can have a commodity that will not be rejected outside the country, a commodity that we go and people will actually go for it. They will be able to have what is called traceability to know what kind of product we are producing. As an association, our website is ongoing. We're building our website and we are still working on it. We are trying to link up with all the agencies that have to do with the cashew, like Shippers Council, we talk of Nigeria Sport Promotion Council, we talk of Standard Organization of Nigeria, and so many of them can name them all.
All
We're trying to see how we have the website and bring everyone of us together as a team.
Okay, now I keep wondering. You had your last, the maiden edition of the program of your association, Cashew Association Day in Edo. I'd like to know why you decided to choose Edo.
Yeah, so many persons may think that because I'm from Edo State, that is why we choose Edo State. That is not actually it. Edo State is the center of the, when you look at the current state that are producing cashew, Edo State is just like in the middle of this producing cashew state. So we could pick that place to make it easy for everybody to come for the conference. The people coming from the east to Benin, they come just less than 2.5 hours they are in Benin. People coming from Lagos or from Oyo or from other places to take them just about almost the same time. And if you look at people coming from the North Central, they can fly into Benin because Benin has airport. They can fly to Benin. And again, Edo State is a cashew producing state. And this conference has been held in Oyo State. We have held it also in Kogi State. It's also been taking place in Abuja. Edo State is hosting it for the first time. So that is why we chose Edo as a place to also encourage the government of Edo State to see that they have a product that they should take in and make it economical potential for the state.
All right, now, what has been the impact of the Cashew Association of Nigeria, in stimulating investments in the sector, and how is it encouraging farmers?
Thank you. Well, we have been doing our bit, and I think our farmers always applaud us for what we are doing, and our traders also applaud us of what we are doing in the sector. Also, our processors, they know that here, as an association, we've been doing a lot. We do so many workshops. We do sensitization workshops. We go to areas that needs what they need to know. We go there and let them know about it. Like we talk about GAP, good agricultural practices. We try to introduce them to them, and we have development partners. We talk about people like GIZ, talk about TechnoServe and CNFA of USDA. They have been very cooperative and very helpful in the sector, and we as an association, we see that our members does not suffer any kind of loss. We go outside the country, like now we have a trip in our hand that we are going to the United States of America. There's a program coming here April, and we want to attend that program to see how we can go in investors. You have a lot of Nigerians who wish to come to Nigeria to invest in the economy, but many of them traveled with a wrong perception of the country. So we are traveling there to see how we can bring them in. Now we are looking at producing areas like Edo State and Kogi State, Oyo State. Oyo State have some processors and other states, but when you look about Kogi State and Edo State, there is no processors in Nigeria, like I call them the sharing part of the sector. So we are trying to see how we can bring in investors to this area to see how we have modular factories, small processing units. Like we don't need to have very big ones that will not cost too much money. So if we can have a lot of them in all those processing areas, it will really help the economy.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ojo, for talking to us on Africa Weekly. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. That was Mr. Ojo Ajanaku, via Zoom from Auchi, Edo State. Africa Weekly continues with the tidbit segment. Please stay with us. The number of people facing food security challenges and nutrition has dropped slightly in the country. This has contained in a survey conducted by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. The survey was conducted in 26 states.
A food security and nutrition survey was conducted in 26 states by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. The survey indicates that more than 1,108,193 persons in Adamawa, Borno, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger, Sokoto, Yobe and Zamfara states are in an emergency status.
Food insecurity and regional information.
The food insecurity and malnutrition was attributed to terrorism and the activities of bandits in some northwest and north central states.
Obviously, these challenges have led to disruption of food production and distribution systems, resulting in poor consumption patterns among several households, especially in areas affected by insecurity.
This brought negative consequences for food production and certainly depleted the stocks that households were keeping, leading to predictable food scarcity this year.
There is also a projection that the number may increase unless conscious and intensive efforts are made to sustain humanitarian support to the vulnerable people.
We can do so much more in terms of humanitarian response, but also solutions. And the solutions are in the agricultural sector. That's what's there. The progress in the Northeast is going to be about agriculture.
There's no doubt we need to recommit, but also to use all available means and resources if we are to mitigate further deterioration of food insecurity.
There was also reports indicating that the effects of the Naira redesign contributed largely to the family inability to access food in the urban cities.
And the United Nations Water Conference formally opened as the 2023 conference for the midterm comprehensive review implementation of the United Nations Decades for Action on Water and Sanitation 2018 to 2028 has opened in New York with the aim of raising awareness of the global water crisis and deciding on concerted action to achieve the internationally agreed water-related goals and targets contained in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
The world faces three devastating water crises. Too much water causing flooding, too little water causing droughts, and too dirty water causing pollution. The United Nations see water as a deal maker for the Sustainable Development Goals and for the health and prosperity of people and planet. But progress on water-related goals and targets remains alarmingly off track, jeopardizing the entire Sustainable Development Agenda.
May we all be united by water action.
The UN 2023 Water Conference is expected to result in a bold water action agenda that gives the world's lifeblood the commitment it deserves.
We need to devise a common financial culture that is water, climate, and biodiversity smart. Financing that benefits everybody from the indigenous and marginalized to the lucky ones who were born to wealthy parents. We urgently need to stop wasting water.
For the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, to avert incremental water catastrophe, the world must close water management gaps, massively invest in water and sanitation, focus on resilience and address climate change for a sustainable water future.
This is more than a conference on water. It is a conference on today's world, seen from the perspective of its most important resource. from water as a key driver across economies and policy making, to the recognition of water and sanitation as a human right, from the integration of water and climate policies to an innovative approach in the use of water in food production, now is the moment for game-changing commitments to bring the water action agenda to life.
Co-hosted by the governments of Tajikistan and the Netherlands, the conference features plenary meetings, multi-stakeholder interactive dialogues, and high-level special and side events organized to ramp water-positive action globally.
ECOWAS African Wrestling Tournament has been held in Miami. And the 12th edition of the ECOWAS African Wrestling Tournament had many countries participating in Niger, with Nigeria staging a superb fight.
A warm welcome there. At a step into the arena, the medical team puts wrestlers to the test.
All wrestlers are to do medical tests before wrestling.
Once certified, the scale is set. 5 categories are up for the wrestlers, and each one yearns for a pass in their own category. But not everyone will get an automatic pass. Some have to shake off some calories to fit in. The technical crew, it's either a pass or an outright disqualification.
If he cannot do this in 1 hour 30, he's out for this competition.
This exercise paves way for the opening ceremony, with a series of contests to follow.
That's our package this week on the program. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles Alpha.